What if one moment could change everything? What if Cochise never died? In Cooley High, we saw a young man full of dreams, potential, and charisma, only for it all to be cut short. But what if fate had other plans? Would he have made it to the NBA? Would he and Preach have stayed close? Or would life have thrown him challenges he never saw coming? Today, we explore the alternate reality of Cochise's survival, the triumphs, the struggles, and the hard truths. This is What If Cochise Lived? Let's dive in. Cooley High, 1975, is a coming-of-age drama set in 1964 Chicago, following two high school friends, Preach and Cochise, as they navigate school, girls, and dreams of a better future. Their carefree lives take a tragic turn after they get caught up with the wrong crowd, leading to heartbreaking consequences. The film blends humor, nostalgia, and realism, making it a classic in Black cinema. Cochise, 18, and Preach, 18, graduate from Cooley High. The incident with Stone and Robert still happens, but instead of being beaten to death, Cochise is seriously injured, perhaps hospitalized, but recovers after a few months. This experience deepens his distrust of the streets and reinforces his determination to leave Chicago and pursue a future elsewhere. His friendship with Preach remains intact, though their paths are already diverging. Cochise moves to Los Angeles to attend junior college. He enrolls at a community college with the hope of transferring to a larger program. He quickly realizes that despite being a high school basketball star, his skills are not unique at the collegiate level. He's athletic but not elite, which means he has to work twice as hard. Struggles with discipline and focus, partying, chasing girls, and living in the moment still dominate his personality. Cochise transfers to a Division I school, but not on a full ride. Despite early struggles, he lands a spot on a college basketball team, perhaps USC or UCLA, though he's a bench player, not a starter. His confidence begins to crack. For the first time, he's not the best athlete in the room. He faces academic struggles and the temptation to take shortcuts, relying on charm rather than discipline. Preach struggles in Chicago. His life takes a different turn. He stays in the city trying to break into the writing world. Cochise tries to keep in touch, but their friendship becomes strained. Cochise sees Preach as being reckless, and Preach resents Cochise for acting brand new. Cochise doesn't make it to the NBA. After 4 years in college, he realizes he's not NBA material. He plays semi-pro basketball, but doesn't get drafted into the league. This is a defining moment of failure. He built his identity around basketball, and now he has to face the fact that it won't define his future. Struggles with identity. He feels lost, uncertain of his purpose, turns to drinking and partying to cope with disappointment. Relationships suffer. He's had several short-lived romances, but he struggles with commitment. Cochise returns to Chicago. Humbled, he moves back home and realizes how much has changed. Many of his old friends are either dead, in jail, or stuck in the same cycle of struggle. He reconnects with Preach, who is now writing professionally and making a name for himself, begins coaching high school basketball, decides to use his experiences to help young athletes avoid his mistakes. At first, he sees it as temporary, but he gradually finds purpose in mentoring kids from the same streets he once roamed. He instills discipline in them, preaching education and character over raw talent. Finds love. He meets a woman, perhaps a teacher at the school, who challenges his ego and immaturity. For the first time, he considers settling down and starting a family. Cochise fully embraces coaching. By his late 20s, he's a respected figure in his community. He runs basketball camps and advocates for education over street life. He still carries regret, He knows he could have done more with his talent if he had been more disciplined earlier. Preach moves to Hollywood. Their friendship remains, but Preach is now living in LA, writing for television and film. They visit each other occasionally, but their lifestyles are worlds apart. Cochise doesn't envy Preach's fame. He's finally at peace with who he is. Cochise becomes a father and a leader, marries his longtime girlfriend and has children. He sees his youngest son inherit his basketball skills, but Cochise is determined to teach him discipline first. By now, he's one of the most respected coaches in the city. The violence in Chicago worsens. The 1980s bring an explosion of gang violence and drugs. He loses former teammates and students to the streets. He doubles down on his mission to keep young black men from throwing their lives away. Cochise, now in his 50s, is a respected Chicago figure. He's honored for his work in the community. He continues coaching, but is now also mentoring former athletes who struggle with life after sports. Preach writes a film loosely based on their youth, giving Cochise recognition beyond Chicago. Cochise retires but remains involved in youth programs. His coaching legacy lives on, as many of his former players go on to play at the college level or become coaches themselves. He reconnects with Preach, now an accomplished screenwriter, and they reflect on the paths their lives took. Cochise's message. His biggest lesson? Talent isn't enough. He tells young players, the streets don't love you, and the game won't save you if you don't have discipline. Had Cochise survived, he wouldn't have been a basketball star, but he would have been something greater, a mentor, a leader, a man who changed lives. His journey wouldn't have been easy, but his failures would have made him wiser, and his survival would have given the next generation a chance to break free from the same cycle. Cochise's survival would have changed everything, not just for him, but for those around him. His journey would have been filled with highs and lows, but in the end, he would have become more than just a ball player. He would have been a mentor, a leader, and a man who left a lasting impact. What do you think? How different would Cooley High have been if Cochise had lived? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the what-ifs of pop culture. Until next time, stay real.